Genocide. It was sort of hard for our viewers to hear all of what was being played on the screen there at the White House. But what, as somebody who lives and works there and hears the narrative from many different points of view, what is in those video clips that the President of the United States is really trying to get the President of South Africa to hear and respond to? What's in that narrative?
So in that specific narrative of the clips that we've described as carefully curated, you hear an opposition party leader advocating for land seizures here in South Africa. This is somebody called Julius Malema, whose campaign ticket has been of advocating for land grabs, saying that the current government's process of working together, of trying to plead reconciliation between white and black South Africans is taking far too long and has continued to disenfranchise black people. President Ramaphosa, who presides over a government that is mixed race, mixed cultural, has in fact distanced himself from those views, saying this is not the way of Nelson Mandela, this is not what they advocated for when they were freeing this country back in the 1990s. That part of the reason why he's got a mixed cabinet that includes an Afrikaner minister is to show that South Africa's future is in working together. So it will not surprise me if he tries at this interaction that he has with President Trump to distance himself further from that and saying this is somebody who's in the periphery or in the fringes of South African society, that those views are not widely embraced by the majority of South Africans.
And still the President of the United States wants the President of South Africa to be held accountable for what happens in his country, fringe or not. Talk to me about what reaction is there to the fact that Elon Musk is in the room today. Is there a perception that Elon Musk is whispering in the ear of the President of the United States?
Which is what the South African delegation is hoping to come away with. Away from the politics and the shouting, they want to know that the partnership that the two countries have enjoyed for decades can continue and continue on a footing that is beneficial to both countries.
It was clear before President Ramaphosa went into the White House that the agenda setting definitely was, as you said, wanting to talk about trade, wanting to talk about U.S. aid, and it's very clear by seeing this live picture inside the White House, President Donald Trump wants another conversation altogether. Thank you so much for that perspective from where you are. Now let's go back to the White House and see as President Trump continues that conversation. Let's listen.
This is one of, I'm just looking.
Can we get a reaction to those videos?
Well, I think the videos are so. No. When you look at the videos, I mean, how does it get worse? And these are people that are officials, and they're saying that kill the white farmer and take their land. That's what it is. And I have other friends in South Africa, people that left. One in particular that says you can't go there. He said they want to take your land, and they kill you. It's okay, and they say it's okay to do it. Now, we're going to talk about it, but this is a tremendous, look, this is a story recently. These are all people that recently got killed. And I don't know how it can get any worse. These are and you know, the men that you saw, the people that you saw in that movie, those are officials. Those are people that were in office. They had one march, they had a dance in your parliament, whatever you may call it, legislature.
Let me clarify that.
Yeah.
Let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
No, nobody can
And
take
then when
land.
they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No, there is
Nothing happens to
There
them.
is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately through criminal activity, are not only white people. The majority of them are black people. And we have now
The
been
farmers are
utilizing.
black. The farmers are not black.
We are
I don't
now-
say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black. And the people that are being killed in large numbers, and you saw all those grave sites, and those are people that loved ones going, I guess on a Sunday morning, they told me, to pay respect to their loved ones that were killed. Their heads chopped off, they died violently. And, you know, I mean, we're here to talk about it, and I didn't know we'd get involved here, but I will say this, that if the news wasn't fake like NBC, which is fake news, totally one of the worst, ABC, NBC, CBS, horrible. But if they weren't fake news like this jerk that we have here, if we had real reporters, they'd be covering it. But the fake news in this country doesn't talk about that. They don't want to talk about it, but now they have to talk about it. But they won't. This won't even be a subject. They'll have him talking about why did a country give a free, think of this, why did a country give an airplane to the United States Air Force? Okay, the United States, not to me, to the United States Air Force, so they can help us out, because we need an Air Force One until since Air Force One is being built, 2 of them being built. But Boeing's a little bit late, unfortunately. So why did they give us a plane to the United States Air Force? That's what that idiot talks about after viewing a thing where thousands of people are dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish you did. I take it. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay. But coming back to this issue, which I really would like us to talk about, and talk about it very calmly. We were taught by Nelson Mandela that whenever there are problems, people need to sit down around a table and talk about it.
Well, there are
and this
problems.
is precisely what we would also like to talk about, including, of course, trade matters, investment matters. So the issues that concern you as the United States,
Those are all recent.
and
Those are all deaths.
yeah, in many ways, I mean, one should say you are a partner of South Africa, and you are raising concerns, and these are concerns that we are willing to talk to you about. Let me just add quickly, you know, the criminality that we're experiencing in our country needs quite a lot of technological capability. And in one of our areas in South Africa, we're using US technology, which is able to, in many ways, identify where shootings are happening and all that. And I'd like to talk about that, because there is support that we can get from you in the United States to help us deal with all these acts of criminality. And that is what I believe partnership is all about. And we are here as a partner so that we can help each other whenever there are challenges. So I'd like us to discuss it, and of course outside of the media, so that we sit down and have a really good discussion that will lead to good outcomes.
Should you not be satisfied that South Africa is fixing some of the very bad things in the problems that you treated are happening?
Well, there are a lot of bad things happening in many countries, but this in particular has been very, very bad, very bad. And because of, we're going to have the whole world watching in another short period of time, because you have the G20, and that's a big deal. And it seems like, I want you to look good. I don't want you to look bad. But we have hundreds of people, thousands of people trying to come into our country because they feel they're going to be killed and their land is going to be confiscated. And you do have laws that were passed that gives you the right to confiscate land for no payment. You can take away land for no payment.
I want to clarify that, because we have a constitution. Our constitution guarantees and protects the sanctity of tenure of land ownership. And that constitution protects all South Africans with regard to land ownership. However, we do say, because we've got to deal with the past, the government, and as your government also has the right to expropriate land for public use.
And you're doing that.
And we've never really gotten underway with that. And we We're not going to be doing so.
You're taking people's land
We
away
have not.
from them.
We have,
And those people, in many cases, are being executed. They're being executed. And they happen to be white, and most of them happen to be farmers. And that's a tough situation. I don't know how you explain that. How do you explain that? They're taking people's land away, and in many cases, those people are being executed. And in many cases, it's not the government that's doing it. It's people that kill them and then take their land, and nothing happens to them. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country. They're also going to Australia in a smaller number. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country, and they're white farmers, and they feel that they're going to die in South Africa. And it's a bad thing. Yeah, please.
What in South Africa do? What concessions would you like to see them make to improve relations with the United States? Then I have one more for President Ramaphosa afterwards.
Well, you know, we just spoke about, I got them a very, very complex machine, 150 of them. I was by the president to be help, and I did that. And, you know, I have great feeling for all countries. Look, I deal with all countries.
Culture, who is white, who comes from an opposition party to mine, who's joined my government at my invitation to address this very issue, including the question that you've just raised. John?
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Mr. President, thank you for welcoming us to the White House. I would say I don't think anyone wants to candy coat that. And it requires a lot of effort to get on top of it. It's going to require more policing resources. It's going to require different strategy to be able to deal with it. But certainly the majority of South Africa's commercial and smallholder farmers really do want to stay in South Africa and make it work. And I've just come from the largest agricultural show in the Southern Hemisphere with organized agriculture and farmers, and the majority of them want to stay. But they too, there have a memorial to those who died as a result of farm attacks. And as the Minister of Agriculture, it is something that I'm particularly exercised with my colleagues of police and my colleagues in the justice cluster to start making farm attacks and stock theft a priority crime. And it affects all farmers in South Africa, particularly stock theft. It has a disproportionate effect on smallholder black farmers. I also want to just say this, that the two individuals that are in that video that you've seen are both leaders of opposition minority parties in South Africa. Umkhonto weSizwe under Mr. Zuma and the economic freedom fighters under Mr. Malema. Now the reason that my party, the Democratic Alliance, which has been an opposition party for over 30 years, chose to join hands with Mr. Ramaphosa's party was precisely to keep those people out of power. We cannot have those people sitting in the union buildings making decisions. And that is why after 30 years of us exchanging barbs across the floor in Parliament and trying to get one over on each other, we've decided to join hands precisely to keep that lot out of government. Because the day they get in to the doors of the union buildings in South Africa or control of our Parliament, that's what you're going to see. And that is why this government, working together, needs the support of our allies around the world so that we can strengthen our hand, grow our economy, and shut the door forever on that rabble getting through the doors of the union building. Because then South Africa's future will be.
So you denounced that type of language in the video that you saw?
Oh yes, we've always done so. As government, as my own party, we are completely opposed to that. We, in 1955, adopted a document which said South Africa belongs to all who live in it.
But why would you arrest that man? Said, kill the white farmers, kill the white farmers. And then he danced, and he's dancing, and it's kill the white farmers. I think, I'm not sure, but I think if somebody got up in Parliament and started saying kill a certain group of people, he would be arrested very quickly. That man is going all over South Africa, and that's not a small party. That was a stadium that holds 100,000 people, and I hardly saw an empty seat. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of representation. And those crosses, we have dead white people, dead white farmers, mostly. And you take a look at Australia, they're being inundated, and we're being inundated with people that want to get out. And their farm is valueless. It's valueless. and they just want to get out with their life. And this is a very serious situation. And if we had a real news or real press or media, we don't have that because they won't talk about this because they're all guys like that idiot. But if we had a real press, it would be exposed. And you know, the beauty of exposing it is it's like a cleansing action. When it gets exposed, it'll get fixed. That's when it'll get fixed. But people don't talk about it. And I'll tell you who's talking about the thousands of people that are fleeing South Africa right now.
Oh, praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakwakodash. It's the Paleo Hebrew of our Lord and Savior, who the world calls Jesus or Christ. So today we're just going to go to Micah chapter 2, start at 2 and 1. It says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in their power of their hand. And they covet fields, and take them by violence, and houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Therefore thus said the Lord Yahweh, Behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go hardly, for this time is evil." So we living in some evil times, man.